November 10th, we of the Marine Corps celebrate our 169th anniversary. The past year has been the most eventful of all the eventful years of our history. Men of the Corps have beaten the enemy in the South Pacific, have spearheaded the great American drive westward across the Central Pacific to within striking distance of the Japanese homeland itself. It was symbolic indeed that the year should begin last November 10th with the raising of the same stars and stripes over the Capitol in Washington that we first flew at Guadalcanal.
Just 10 days earlier, we'd gone ashore on Bougainville under a curtain of naval fireworks. The going was tough, but we were out to wind up the conquest of the Solomons, and we did. Still fighting when Thanksgiving came, but we had plenty of time for turkey. The quartermaster backed us up with big stockpiles of materiel, more than we'd ever had before. We found plenty of use for it. The Japs bombed our beachhead, of course, sometimes hitting one of our gun emplacements. Meanwhile, Tarawa, 76 hours of hell on earth. The Japs had to be shot, blown and burned out of their coral fortress. Our own casualties were heavy. Tarawa gave us our first foothold in the Central Pacific. Decorations and a well done from Admiral Nimitz, Commander-in-Chief, Pacific Fleet. Back home, 19,000 women Marines were taking seriously that business about freeing men to fight. In post office, motor transport, at the switchboard, the drafting board, in ground aviation, and at 200 other assignments they were replacing men on the job. Emerau and Green Islands fell. Engineers and Seabees went in to hack airfields out of raw jungle. An old miracle for them. They had worked it many times before, and they've done it many times since. When we weren't fighting Japs, we were fighting the weather. Or rather, it was fighting us. We spent Christmas Day moving in on Cape Gloucester. Mud and jungle. Jungle and mud. And a fiercely resisting enemy. These men knew war at its worst. Relieved after 21 days in the front lines. They were dead tired, jungle worn, but still belligerent. We beat both Jap and jungle, but we paid a price. Some of us remained behind. On January 1st, Lieutenant General Alexander Vandegrift took office as 18th Commandant of the Corps. February, the Marshall Islands. For us, a long step across the Central Pacific. Our tanks were busier than usual here. Secretary of the Navy Forrestal dropped by to have a first-hand look at victory. Marine airmen were blasting at the Japs from the sky without let-up, wherever they found them. 1/3 of the Corps served in aviation. Aboard capital ships at sea on both sides of the world, we were pouring hot steel from anti-aircraft and secondary batteries at our enemies. Now and then we had time for bull sessions. This one happened to be part of a rodeo we whipped up ourselves. June found us battering at the Marianas, 1,500 miles from Tokyo. It took us 26 days and nights of the bitterest fighting yet to drive from one end of the island to the other. Then, with 10 days of so-called rest after securing Saipan, we struck at nearby Tinian. The terrain was flatter than Saipan's, but the defenders were just as stubborn. Guam was next, and with a vengeance. We piled ashore and headed for the barracks where our small Marine garrison had been overwhelmed in the first week of war. Admiral Nimitz and General Vandegrift showed up for the homecoming. It was a good moment when we reclaimed the old Marine shield and raised the flag over our barracks once again. September landings on Palau, 800 miles west of Guam, completed our encirclement of all enemy troops in the Central and South Pacific.
Thus the advance in the past year. As I speak, this advance continues. Marines are pushing on. Confident the coming year will bring the decisive victory to the war. I take this occasion to express my pride in the accomplishment of all officers and enlisted, both men and women, to extend my sincerest congratulations and to wish you Godspeed on the journey ahead.